Hello, fair listeners, to a show of whimsy, thrills, and irreverence. We are so glad you're here, but please note that the following show will reveal every secret there is to hold, language you may find offensive, and things not suitable for the faint of heart. For once you enter this world of fantasy, you have reached the point of no return.
You're impossibly fast and strong. Your skin is pale white and ice cold. Your eyes change color. And sometimes you speak like you're from a different time. You never eat or drink anything. You don't go out in the sunlight. How old are you?
17.
How long have you been 17?
A while.
Hi, hello, and welcome to Season 4 of Monster Madness. We are a podcast dedicated to all sorts of creatures, features, and beyond. I'm Erica, and joined with me are two distinguished gentlemen who are very happy to be here. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
I don't want to fucking talk about this turd.
The hostility is high. So this season is a little different because, one, we were supposed to be doing humor horror, and two, we are covering a whole saga of movies, which is the first time we have ever done this. But first, why aren't we doing humor horror? Well, I wanted to torture Matt since humor horror was his theme, and I'm a sore loser, so this elaborate joke has become a reality. Thanks to you, Matt. I will tell you that when I did the poll on Instagram and elsewhere, all of your friends betrayed you.
I mean, yeah, I get it. I understand people like to laugh at my pain. I'm going to figure out every one of you that betrayed me, and I'm going to shit on your pillows, you fucks.
The only person that was on your side was our friend Josh from Still Loading.
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah.
Also, I know that my wife betrayed me in this poll, but she also has to live with me. So she could have just been upset with me that day and been like, you're going to watch Twilight, motherfucker. Although she did watch this with me and she wants to watch all of them with me. So I think that's probably why she voted that way.
Look, we're going to get into it, and we're going to get into it deep.
Hey, Matt, I've already seen all these movies multiple times.
They're background noise movies for me, and we'll get into it. Hold on. So before we get into the glory that is this film, some plugs, especially if you're first-time listeners. Hi, hello. We don't always talk about Twilight. We talk about,
Welcome.
yeah, like Montel Williams. Welcome. I used to love that show after school. Anyway, here's some plugs where you can find Monster Madness. We are pretty much on every social media platform: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Slasher, TikTok, and anything else you can pretty much think of. You can find Matt occasionally playing video games over on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/monstermadnesspod. We also have a Discord channel for our community that we would love for you to join. We talk about an array of topics from cheese to Creed to everything in between. If you'd like to support the show, there are numerous ways that you can do that. You can become a monthly Patreon for as little as $2 a month. You'll get early access to our episodes for free, and they don't have any ads, which is glorious, as well as exclusive content. Each tier you get a bunch more of different stuff, buttons, stickers. And if you'd like to do a one-time donation, you can go over to our Ko-fi. All the links for all that BS will be posted in our show notes if you don't care about all this and you skip it. So without further ado, on this episode of Monster Madness, we will be covering the first installment of the epic vampire saga that took the world by storm, 2008's Twilight.
Can I talk to you for a minute?
Rosalie?
What?
How did you get over to me so fast?
I was standing right next to you, Bella.
No. You were next to your car, across the lot.
No, I wasn't.
Yes, you were.
Bella, you hit your head. I think you're confused.
I know what I saw.
What exactly was that?
You stopped the van. You pushed it away with your hand.
Well, nobody's gonna believe you. So.
I wasn't gonna tell anybody. I just need to know the truth.
Can't you just thank me and get over it?
Thank you.
You're not gonna let this go, are you?
No.
Well, then I hope you enjoy disappointment.
Can I throw in a quick disclaimer? As I this is the first time I've ever watched it in its entirety and paid attention to it. I'm watching it through 2012 glasses. 2012, 2022. What year is this?
What year is it?
But yeah, so because a lot of my complaints, outside of it just being an inherent love story that I cared nothing about, was how it looked because I'm watching it 14 years later.
There were a lot of creative decisions that are very 2008.
And also, you have read the books. I haven't, because I don't fucking care.
Oh, yeah.
But you've said that the book is a lot different than the movie. So, well, I mean, just put it down. It's thicker than a Bible. It doesn't need to be that big.
First of all, a Bible is over 1,000 pages. Second off, this is only, hold on. If you hear listeners, that's an actual Twilight book in my hand. I couldn't even get through it. Hold on, this is the epilogue, and I think they give you a little bit of new moon at the end of this one. Hold on. I could have just simply Googled.
It's just a picture of fucking Sparkle Fairy ass.
You calm down. The first Twilight book is 498 pages, and you better believe your goddamn ass I read it. Well, here's the thing. I read it in high school. I think I read it one other time outside of that, and I recently reread it as a 31-year-old woman.
Did you have to?
When did that book come out?
2005.
Is that your original book?
Okay.
Is it? Yes, this is my original copy. Look, that spine is beautiful.
It looks to be in pretty good shape from here.
Before I get into, all the details of the movie, whatever, plot, all that jazz. If you were a girl, specifically a girl, in high school, between the years 2005 to 2009, every single girl, or most of them, was carrying around this book, going to class, to the point where my school was just like, leave your Twilight books at home. Every kid had one. It was nuts. That's why I read them. I started reading them when the movie started coming out, because I like to read books before I see the movie. So I probably read this around 2007, the end of 2007, 2008-ish, when the movie was announced, because the movie came out in November of 2008. So I probably read it around there. And then the last book came out, I believe, the year I was graduating high school, because I remember specifically a girl reading it in my class 2 seats down from me, like feverishly reading it because we were in a computer class.
Just slipping out of her chair.
We'll get to that. But she was very upset reading it. Very upset. But
it's like Phyllis reading 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, yeah. Just dousing her in water.
Why is Phyllis so aroused?
She's listening to 50 Shades of Grey.
Well, there you go. That's muy caliente.
Okay, you are useless. I'll take care of this.
What the hell?
It's okay, guys. She's no longer horny.
So, Twilight was directed by Catherine Hardwicke.
I don't like how excited you are right now.
Get over it. It was written by Melissa Rosenberg. She did the screenplay, and the novel, it's obviously based off the novel written by Stephenie Meyer in 2005. A couple of other additives that I wanted to do for this season. This wiki has the music, which the music, I think, especially for the first 2 films, is very iconic. Most people have seen these movies, whether they like them or not. Cannot deny, especially if you have a slightly eclectic taste in music, that the soundtrack is choice. So the music is by Carter Burwell. Hey, shout out Burwell. We have a Burwell in our lives. And the cinematography is by Elliot James. It was released on November 21st, 2008. It runs for 120 minutes. Matt, do you know the budget of this film?
Too goddamn much.
I beg to differ.
Can you take a stab at what do you think it is? I do have it, so
I know what it is, so he can guess.
$4 million.
$4 million?
Yeah.
Dan, take another guess.
Higher or lower?
It's way
Really?
higher.
Like 20 million?
Double digits, not triple digits. That's the only hint I'll give you.
20 million.
37 million.
Damn.
Which, when you think about it, all the fucking sparkling in the sunlight, the speed running, all that shit. Like at that time, it probably was not cheap to accomplish. Also, I don't know where they filmed this. Erica, do you know?
Forks.
Pacific Northwest. They did it in Oregon, a couple things in Canada.
Okay, so it was in the area that they said that the story took place.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on timing, they didn't have to like computer animate the weather or like the look of it because it was probably pretty much fucking dreary, which is what it is up there.
Yeah, the only major thing that they did, obviously, with this film is they put a major blue filter over everything. It's very blue.
Which, shocker, the Matrix was green and blue. So...
And that's one of the things like I never truly paid attention to until people kind of pointed out to me. But this one, it's kind of easier, I feel like, because the next few films, as you'll see, are not blue. It's just this one.
Oh,
because
okay. It didn't really seem blue to me, but I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off. But I'm sure in the next one I'll realize that those aren't blue, and this one is very blue. Did Eiffel 65 release their hit single "Blue" in the same year?
They might have. It was the director's kind of choice, and they switched directors very quickly after this movie for a bajillion different reasons. Catherine Hardwicke is kind of an oddball. I don't dislike her as a director, but there are some things that I just okay, I'm an avid book reader. I'm currently rereading all the Twilight books to coincide with the conversations that we're going to have. I don't mind doing it. I love reading. And these are very easy books to get through. I also have the audiobooks, so I can half and half it if I'm busy. Like the first Twilight, I read like a quarter of it, and then I finished it on audiobook because I'm like, I know this story. I just wanted to remember what like the major differences were. And then I actually recently read Stephenie Meyer's for the 10th anniversary of Twilight coming out. She did a reimagination of the book where she literally gender switched the roles of the entire book, except her who in this film, Bella's parents, Charlie and Renee, stay the same. However, every single character changes gender because she wanted to prove to all the people that said that Bella is an extremely overdramatic, typical teenage girl, and this is just like a 17-year-old boy wouldn't act like this.
Wait, so
bullshit.
In that series, the guy is the human and the girl's the vampire?
Yes, it's Edith and Beaufort, but they just call him Beau.
Oh, Beaufort. Okay. Eiffel 65's Blue came out in 1998, by the way.
Oh, I know. It was in the 90s. I was just fucking going along with you.
I'm blue.
But yeah, so the reimagination is the male is the human and the female and her family obviously are the vampires. It ends completely differently, but everything else is virtually the same. And it was just, I think, kind of a fuck you to anybody who said that.
I got a question on that. I think it would go a lot differently because I think the dude wouldn't mind. Like, I think he would try to fuck the vampire.
They talk about sex way more in that book than they do in this book. This one.
I was saying, it's funny because we were talking about this right before we started recording about how guys are just, you fuck till the day you die. So I think the story would change, especially a 17-year-old.
If it was a boy and he's like, oh, this is
my
vampire girl, he'd be trying.
I probably would have fucked a couch cushion if it had a hole in it.
Before we get into the fucking book, let me just get out the fucking cast of this film. Christ. So we have Kristen Stewart, my wife, Robert Pattinson, Sarah Clark.
Can we talk about how Kristen Stewart looks confused the entire movie?
You look confused on a daily basis.
No,
you back off, Kristen.
She's biting her lip the whole movie. And you're like,
I think she's super attractive, but I just think she's so straight-faced, and not necessarily in a bad way, but it was just like, that's all I kind of at one point just noticed. I'm like, she never really looks like she knows what she's doing.
I mean, in her defense, if you, and I'm going to say this a lot this episode, and I kind of apologize, but not really. If you ever did read the book, which I know that hell would freeze over to Antarctica status before that would.
How long is the audiobook?
I think they're all around 16 hours.
Ooh, okay. Someone's going to have to give a lot of money to Patreon for me to listen to that, but I would, and I would give a full synopsis if the money's right.
People, do you hear? Someone give this man money. Give this show money. You don't understand how much I want that. But anyway, we have Kristen Stewart, Robert Pattinson, Sarah Clark, Matt Buechel, who's in it for 35 seconds, Billy Burke, who is going to be I think Matt and Dan's favorite character in the entire film. He plays Charlie, Bella's dad, and he's the absolute best. We have Gil Birmingham, Taylor Lautner, Gregory Boyce, Justin Chon, Michael Welsh, Anna Kendrick, Christian Serratos, Nikki Reed, Kellen Lutz, Ashley Green, Jackson Rathbone. And I think that's all like the really big heavy hitters that you really need to know. That's all the Cullens, the Hales, Bella's family, the friends. That's everybody.
I did not know that Kristen Stewart was into females.
Yeah, she dated Robert Pattinson for about 4 years and then had a very public breakup with him because she cheated on him with the director of Snow White.
Oh.
And then
either way, sorry. So I saw it because I was looking at pictures, and her with long hair, I think she's incredibly pretty. Some of the shorter ones where she just stone faced, not so much a fan. But I agree with your assessment that you would leave Dan for her, and I would wingman the shit out of that for you. Sorry, Dan, not sorry. I want to be friends with Kristen Stewart.
I do not like her hair currently. I will tell you that right now.
I don't even know what her hair looks like currently.
It's bad.
Now.
Yeah, it's not my favorite. I don't like it. I don't know what she's I don't know what she's going for with it. It's very chopped. It's very Tegan and Sarah 2005, where it's just kind of like half a mullet type deal. I don't know what she's doing. It really kind of, but hey, you know what? It's her vibe. It's what she wants to do. However,
To each their own.
You asked me the other day, I think, would I bang Edward Cullen? Just while you were watching it.
Yeah.
And I said 17-year-old Erica probably would have tried. I think a 17-year-old Erica would also have been like, "Hey, Kristen, you're cuter, actually." It's a tall, because Robert Pattinson to me is actually not that good looking. But if I had to pick between him and Taylor Lautner, I'm going Robert Pattinson because I don't find Jacob attractive in any sense of the first.
I know we haven't even started the synopsis of this movie, but Robert Pattinson's fucking front teeth, they're so squared in this movie that it seems like his lip sticks out, and it was very distracting.
I think he gets
It's like, see a fucking dentist, bro, because you just made more money making this one fucking turd movie than I will see in my entire lifetime.
Yeah, but he didn't make it while he was making this movie. He made it after. This is his first American role.
He still has not he didn't fix his fucking teeth.
I'm pretty sure he did. Google.
Don't take this away from me.
Okay, fuck his teeth. Fuck him.
Yeah.
All right.
Fuck that teeth.
Some of the taglines, there's only 3.
This is the worst movie you'll ever see. Are you really going to watch this piece of shit? I bet you read the fucking book too, you idiot. Are those the 3 ones?
God damn. It just reminded me of those fucking commercials you would see like on Nickelodeon. It's like those zoology books or some shit, or like fucking Light Bright, and be like, or those fucking bubbles that you could blow up. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. That was good. The taglines, while everybody's fucking losing their minds over here. When you can live forever, what do you live for? The second one's very dramatic because every single word has a period after the end of it. Forever begins now. And finally, nothing will be the same. They're pretty lame fucking taglines. So
I don't feel like they needed taglines to sell this movie whatsoever, by the sounds of it. And I was out of high school at this point, so I didn't have like the same interaction that you did with seeing other students who were reading the book at all times, but I definitely heard about it.
Oh, yeah.
So
the book was everywhere.
Either way, I don't think they needed a catchy tagline to sell this. People were going to see it no fucking matter what.
They didn't. And I actually watched the trailers for the first time today, probably since they were on television. And I don't remember because there's only 3, I believe. The first one is very dramatic with this like whimsical, like symphony type music. And like, it's like an epic. And then like the next 2 I kind of remember, but I remember seeing it. I'm like, oh, I'm fucking excited. And I saw every single one of these movies in the theater with my cousin. So
don't brag about that. But I'm looking at the trailers on YouTube in the list, and it's like I see the Twilight and then New Moon is a couple down, and you can very much tell that the original was very blue.
Yeah, and I definitely think that was a creative choice, especially given the fact that, these vampires, you know, they can't be seen in the sun for a specific reason, not because it harms them, but just because you see them. I don't like to use the fucking term sparkle because that's nowhere in this goddamn book.
Shine? Glimmer?
So
Hmm.
I kind of want to wait until we get to that point so you can actually start reading the fucking plot of the movie, because we had that talk when I was texting you while I was watching this movie, and that was the one I was also crushing Twilight themed mixed drinks, which I may make one before we're done here because I'm gonna have to pee at some point. But
how do they describe them in the book?
We'll get there. Let me hold it. Okay, so let me start the plot. We've already been at this for a while. Arguments are going to ensue, I can already tell. Isabella, Bella Swan, lived in Phoenix, Arizona with her mother Renee and stepfather Phil, who is a minor league baseball player. Phil gets transferred to play baseball in Florida, so they decide to move there, but Bella decides to move in with her father, Charlie, who is the chief of police in Forks, Washington. Bella moves to Forks and is greeted by Charlie's friend, Billy Black, and Billy's son, Bella's childhood friend, Jacob Black. Already T for timeout. That is very not in the book.
So, a fucking minor league baseball player is like straight out of college. So she's banging like a 24-year-old?
not necessarily.
23? Like, how
No,
old is
so
this
we
guy?
in our last house he was a minor league baseball player, but he had failed and turned into a drunk because he was a little older than we were. But
And he was active?
I think when you think minor league, you're thinking of like baseball savant right out of high school playing single A, which is true. Like we have a single A team here and they're all like 19, 20.
Yeah.
But when I lived in Sheboygan, there was it was called the Sheboygan A's, and it was like a VFW league, but it was guys in like their mid to late 20s who didn't really make it past single A or double A, but wanted to keep playing and were playing in more like a recreational league type level.
Okay.
That is my assumption, is that he's probably mid to late 20s and is just playing high competitive rec league baseball. But also it's a fucking story about sparkle fairies and werewolves and a girl who has no emotion. So I see it, just Erica just turning red with fury right now.
So how old was he?
They never specify, but like Renee, Bella's mother, is young when she has her. So I think Charlie, her father, is like slightly older.
Okay.
But
because Charlie looks like he's 40s.
they never specify age, which is fine. But in the movie, he does look to be like mid 30s, which that would kind of track. But that with her mother, but he could also be younger. They never really close in on him at all. Because Phil, he is discussed, he's talked about, but he is never ever a major player in any fucking sense of the word. I don't even think he is mentioned in like half the books because nobody cares about Phil. So just to go back, Jacob Black's character in the movies is like, oh, him and Bella were childhood friends, blah 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 blah. That was not the case. They never met. They don't even meet in the book until she goes to the beach in La Push. He has 2 older sisters. It's a whole thing that they try to make them have this connection that's like so deep, but I have many fucking issues with that.
So when you say the beach in the push, that's just later in the first movie, right? When
she's questioning him on the beach in La Push, like, oh, tell me about the Cullens, and that
Yep.
part does happen, but that she just runs into him there, and they just get to talking because they're near the reservation, so all the people from the kids from the reservation are hanging out there, and they just happen to interact, and she's like, oh, I'm Jacob Black, and she's like, oh yeah, your dad and my dad are really good friends.
So my assumption to that, knowing that that's not the case, is that it helps to build, presumably later, knowing what I know based on just what I've heard, is that she has to later choose, the whole Team Jacob, Team Edward bullshit. Like, she's going to fuck one of them sooner or later and then let them goosh inside of her to make a demon baby. So this is just helping to build to that, to make it more difficult in the movie scene for her to make that decision. Yeah.
I mean, they're trimming a lot of fat in this movie to get around, and like they're trying to rework relationships to make it easier. Like they completely cut out that Jacob has siblings, because they don't really show up because they live out of state, but they're talked about. And he's significantly younger, like not significantly, he's like 14, 15 when Bella is 17.
He's got a killer set of hair on him though.
Yeah, sure.
But so to your point and what you're saying is, like, I think it's weird, like that is not something that seems like it really needs to get cut out of a movie.
No, she could have literally just ran into him at the beach and
Mm-hmm.
and be like,
And been like,
oh,
sick hair, bruh.
because Charlie does buy her that red truck, but I can actually, that's one little minor detail. I don't even remember if he buys the truck off of, yeah, no, he does buy the truck off of Billy. So there's still that connection, but they just want to fortify it even more because the second book had already been out when this movie was being made. They already knew that there's going to be an established relationship and kind of like a love triangle thing. So they're just trying to make it deeper with it while cutting out a lot of bullshit. But there are some creative
Yeah.
differences that I'm just like, there was absolutely no reason for you to go in that direction. And actually, this is why these movies, I think, are mocked more than anything. Yes, they're teenage movies and teenagers are going to appreciate them, but they're like shit on a lot. And I think it's literally because they cut way too much out. But we'll get there.
At the end of the day, so we talked about the budget. We didn't talk about what it made in the box office because this made fucking $407 million. And it was
Yeah.
the first movie. So regardless of what decisions that they made, this thing still made a fucking multiple dump trucks full of money. So us complaining about it 14 years later isn't going to really change anything. And yes, I'm sorry, you read the books. You really do like these. And I
mean,
unfortunately,
I enjoyed them for what they were.
Support that.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed them for what they were, but like after I read them this round, I'm never going to read them again. I have very limited time and there are so many more books on my shelves that I want to read.
Mhm.
Am I enjoying going back and revisiting? Yeah, it's funny to me to be like, wow, I was fucking deep in this, but they are just like quick reads. They are not
Right.
like I have to figure any shit out in my brain. I'm like, I know. Okay.
But for you doing that, there are hundreds, probably thousands, potentially tens of thousands of people doing the exact same thing and revisiting these over and over because of the nostalgia of when it came out, yada yada yada. It very much plays to and appeals to your age. Not that you're that much younger than I am, but still you're younger than I am, and the time set that for you. Whereas being a guy like the Titanic story that you give me shit for, I probably would have seen Twilight 1 or 2, maybe 3 to touch a boob or two.
Can you imagine in like 45 years, some old ass man is just, they're like, Grandpa, how did you meet Grandma? I took her to see Twilight.
It was when Jacob stood. Oh, sorry, Edward. I'm old in my age. When he started to sparkle and I got to touch her thigh real high, I almost think I touched a lip. It was just a good time in the movie theater. And then she went to reach popcorn and my penis was at the bottom of the popcorn. And then she gave me a buttery tug job.
Similar to a microwave. You can't get that smell out.
Oh my
So
god.
Bella meets the students at Forks High School her first day, including Mike Newton, Eric Yorkie, Jessica Stanley, Tyler Crowley, Angela Weber. At the cafeteria, Bella learns about the strange Cullen family, 5 teenage adult foster kids adopted by Carlisle. He is a young doctor in the community who is 23 years old and married to Esme. So,
Do you think if you're a vampire, that's one of the first things you'd be doing would be adopting people?
okay,
as a
that's
vampire?
not what they're doing.
That's what I mean. Is like,
Oh.
that's I find that very odd for like a vampire to be like, I'm gonna be a
That's
saved.
No, they
That's
turned
what
them
he
all, and then that's
did.
the story is that they're adopted because they're fucking and whatever, yada yada yada. Still, when they all walk in and they're like explaining to, and it's like very early thousands where it's like fucking song plays in slow mo, and they walk in, they saunter in and shit. Ugh.
Well, that's okay. So this part, the whole Bella's friends group, they trim the fat correctly. There's like 3 or 4 other people in that friends group that just fucking add nothing. They kept the ones that mattered and like merged other ones together. So the book is pretty similar in the fact that, they're in the cafeteria and Bella sees them. I'm not sure if they walk in. I think the Cullen family is already sitting down and Edwards walks in solo and he just kind of like, boom, mesmerizes her because they're all super pale. They have these golden eyes and they walk very like, they say dance like. They're like, they have a lot of rhythm to them that's just unnatural. And like all their features are perfect and all this other bullshit. One thing that they cut out
Except Edward's teeth.
except Edward's teeth. One thing that they cut out that make it weird though is that they're not all named Cullen in the book. So you have Edward Cullen, Rosalie Hale, Emmett Cullen, Alice Cullen, and Jasper Hale. So Jasper and Rosalie take the last name Hale, and then they have their respective partners with Alice and Emmett. And then there's Edward just all by himself. I believe that they gave them different names. So when they go to different towns to matriculate and kind of stay there for years so they can kind of live amongst society and, do whatever they are doing, it's not weird when it's just like, yeah, I'm dating my adoptive brother. We're not really related. We don't even have the same last name. They just fucking glean over that. They're like, oh yeah, all the Cullens are fucking each other.
I did find that very odd.
You texted me about it.
Yes, I cannot get past the mom's name is Esme.
That is one thing I wanted to address. I'm really glad you brought that up because, okay.
I feel like we're about to bring up very different topics.
Yes, we are.
So can I get mine out?
Yeah, go ahead. But I'm glad you brought that up.
All I can think about when reading her name is maybe she's born with it. Maybe she's Esme.
We're definitely going to talk about two different things.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
So the first book is the most poorly written one. It feels like a high schooler wrote it. There's a lot of repetitive phrases. Grammar is a struggle. It's just not written well at all. The second book takes a turn. She definitely got more money, definitely got a better editor, definitely got more help. When I was younger, I used to read a lot of young adult novels. I used to read a lot. There's one of my favorite books growing up was this book called Blood and Chocolate, which I actually just reread for the first time in about 15 years because I could remember nothing about it, but I knew that I loved it. I have a really shit memory when it comes to certain things. Literally within the first 2 pages, the mom, it's basically a love story about the supernatural being falling in love with a human. And, it's a werewolf falling in love with a human. And her pack is like, despises her for doing it. They're, against her. Her fucking mom is named Esme. And this book came out years before Stephenie Meyer wrote this. And I'm like, 100%. You read this book and stole a bunch of shit. And I could see how much shit she stole while reading it. I was like, she took that, she took this part, she just morphed it into this. And it's just kind of funny to me because that book does not get a lot of love. It was made into a movie that is not even, the only thing that is similar to the movie is that the characters are named the same thing. Nothing else is the same, which really pissed me off. But I'll move on. Stephenie Meyer is a thief. But then all of her shit got stolen too. So life is a cycle of creative people stealing from other creative people. E.L. James and 50 Shades of Grey is literally based off of Twilight.
That doesn't surprise me one bit. It was just adapted for adults.
Yeah.
Horny adults instead of horny teens.
So 50 Shades of Grey was written as a Twilight fan fiction. She just took out the fact that Edward was, that this person was a vampire. She wrote it on a fan fiction site and people were like, you got to publish this. This is great. This BDSM, blah, 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 blah. She fucking did it, changed all the names, and multimillionaire. In biology, Edward, one of the Cullen kids, is seen completely disgusted with Bella and he goes away 1 second before the bell rings. She yearns to confront Edward, but he is absent for a week. When he returns, he seems friendly and kind towards her, explaining that he was gone for personal reasons. Much to Bella's surprise, Edward's black eyes have turned golden brown. At the parking lot, Tyler's van goes out of control and is about to crush Bella. Edward, who is standing by his car across the lot, far away from Bella, moves quickly and stops the van with his hand, leaving a huge dent in the van's door and a small dent at the end of Bella's truck. Bella is the only one who sees this. Also, not true. Edward stays with her the entire time. I hated that in the movie, he literally just hops over her truck. Every single kid can see like, oh, Edward was just there and he's just leaving her. In the book, the car crash is like so much more elaborate. Like he moves her in different ways and like hits the car in a bunch of other ways. And then he's with her as she goes to the hospital in a fucking neck brace. Like he's basically there the whole time. I understand why they did it, but I just don't get why he walked away. That made no sense to me. Bella tries to get Edward to tell her how he stopped the van, but he warns her against befriending him and that he might be a bad guy. The next day, their class goes on a field trip where she declines Mike's invitation to prom, and Edward's relentlessly dodging her questions, but asks his own.
I love that. It was like, no.
What?
How she's like, he just asked, and she's just like,
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I need another phrase for this, but in the novel, in the book, Bella is actually fawned over by like every dude in the school for whatever reason.
She's the new girl.
Yeah, there's that, but
Probably,
she's also...
yeah.
She's super pretty, even though she's very self-deprecating. She's a typical teenage girl. I don't know any teenage girl that wasn't like this. Like, I'm not cute enough. I'm not this enough. I'm not blah, blah, blah.
Which, to the credit of the author, from that standpoint, it is pretty realistic. No teenager's ever, like, happy or comfortable with the way that they are, the way that they look. So the fact that this plays into it outside of the twinkle boys. I get why she's as uncomfortable and as
Yeah.
I don't want to say clueless, but she looks confused at all times, and I get that that's why that happens, because at that age that we were all fucking clueless.
Yeah. 100%. And I really think people fail to forget that, because you have a lot of adults seeing this book movie. You have a lot of adults reading the book, and they're just like, fucking people don't act like that. Yes, you did. 100% you did. And I have more to touch on that when we get to New Moon, specifically for one scenario that occurs in that film that I actually experienced. And like, there was just nothing about that was dramatic. So they get the teenage angst and heartbreak and confusion down pretty pat. So yeah, in the book, she's fawned over a lot by all the dudes. She's actually asked to dances multiple times. Even Edward kind of fucks with her a lot and like prevents her from leaving like the parking lot one day so someone could get out of their car to actually ask her to prom. That's the one thing that they take out of the first movie a lot that I didn't like, is the fact that Bella and Edward actually have a lot of substantial conversations that fortify why they actually fall in love, instead of her just being like, goo goo gaga, vampire, love you, suck dick. Like, it's just like, what the fuck? Like, you just took out like all of the conversations they had, the multiple like weeks of them literally learning every single thing about each other.
I thought it was the line where he's like, "We shouldn't be together," and she's like, "No, I need you."
It's like they in the film they do make her very desperate, which I think why it kind of gets like this negativity of being a toxic like representation of relationships. They make them both very desperate, but there was so much conversation and detail to their relationship. Like, they were inseparable. Once they decided to be together, they were actually inseparable. He stayed with her every single night. He drove her to school every morning, drove her home, and just continually talking and learning everything about each other. But
So,
anyway.
real quick, but something we had talked about while I was watching this movie is how creepy and uncomfortable a lot of the interactions are between Edward and Bella. Like, especially the one when he first shows her that he sparkles.
Not even a little bit. Not even a semblance of what happens in the book.
And that's what you had said. And it was
I
just
actually
like
have it fucking open so I can
Perfect.
read to you how she
Can't
figures out he's a
wait
fucking.
to fall asleep.
I
Shut
have
the
a question.
fuck up.
Question
But-
down in front. Question.
What's your question, Dan?
Up to this point, like, has Edward already, like, is he a virgin
He's a virgin.
at 185 years old?
I'll get into
108.
it.
But
What?
and that's something I kind of want to get to too. But also, it's like he doesn't seem to understand how to talk to a female without it seeming like very
Yeah. He'd have
murdery.
I would think after 100 and whatever years it is, you got some game.
So he is over 100 years old. He was turned into a vampire when he was 17 in the early 1900s or 20th, whatever. It was 1910.
1918.
Whatever.
The book may be different. I'm going off of what's in the Wikipedia.
No, I'm pretty sure it's
Trying to
19.
help.
No, I'm pretty sure it's 1918. He was going to die of the Spanish flu and all this other stuff. His entire family had already died and perished. He's very old-fashioned, and he had the opportunity to kind of like find a mate. Like, so Carlisle saved him. He was his first person that Carlisle saved, because Carlisle was made a vampire. Carlisle was actually a preacher's son who they fought against supernatural beings. In the movie, they actually show a giant cross laying on the ground. That's from Carlisle's father's church. So that was a nice little nod to the book. If you're,
It's on the staircase.
yeah,
in
it's on the
movie.
staircase. Carlisle's about like 600 years old. And so Edward, he was very lonely, and he found Edward, and Edward's mother begged him to save her son in any way possible. So Carlisle was just like, let me try and save him. So he did. He turned him into a vampire, and eventually Carlisle found Esme. She had jumped off a cliff to commit suicide, and he decided to save her, so that became his mate, and he felt bad for Edward. So they found Rosalie, who was left bloodied and assaulted in the street by her fiance and a gang of his friends. They assaulted her, they beat her to death, but she was like clinging on to life. He saved Rosalie in the hopes that him and Edward would mate, but they did not get along. Rosalie hates being a vampire. Edward could hear her thoughts and he knew that she was not interested in him whatsoever. And I think that's a big thing that people forget, is that Edward can hear everybody's thoughts. He knows every single thing, every quirk, everything that they hate about him, everything that bothers them, blah, blah, blah. So it's really hard for him to connect with anybody. He was presented with a girl that lives in Denali, which is in Alaska. That's their cousins, quote unquote, because they also don't eat humans, but he just had no interest. And eventually he goes to Forks. He's extremely bored. Bella walks in. Her scent is just incredibly appealing to him. And on top of it, he does not know what she's thinking. He actually has to establish a relationship with her without it already being presented to him on a silver platter. So of course he's going to fall head over heels in love with her, and that is why he's a virgin.
Have you been talking this whole time?
I'm like giving
You can cut that out.
gold here. No, I'm not cutting shit out.
So, and that's fine because there was
I would use that to my advantage. Like,
to read people's minds. But
Yeah,
I think that's part of what plays into the fact that he wants Bella so badly because he doesn't know what she's thinking.
but you could walk into any room and be like, "Oh, this chick already wants to fuck me. I can hear it in her
But that's the
head."
thing. Every girl wants to fuck him, though.
Exactly. So for 100 years, when everyone wants to fuck you, you don't think that you would get bored with that?
No.
I mean,
Dan, I love you with most of my heart, and I am also a dude. I feel like at some point, the half of the fun in Bag and Sweet Trim is the chase, and when the chase doesn't exist because you know that it's just like, okay, so that's like if you're ultra famous and you can just go anywhere and you can fuck whoever you want, like that doesn't become fun anymore. It's just a different. It's another night.
I don't think every person would be into him, so I still think he could still pick and choose.
Have you seen those cheekbones and squared off teeth?
have you seen
And
that
he's-
sparkle?
And how he climbs up those
Yeah.
fucking trees?
I know he's
he just-
climbing up a tree.
Yeah,
He
he's just
climbs those trees.
Fucking Creed's higher plays when he takes his shirt off.
Oh, that just reminded me of a TikTok I should make.
Climbing a tree with his freaking dress shirt on.
Just let me know what you need.
That's like just a testament. Like he's running because we're watching
He just went up a tree and it's not even
in the movie.
messy.
Because we have the movie playing on in the background. Because I want to start doing that when we record. Because I always forget something, but it plays into the fact that how powerful and self-aware vampires are.
I feel like if I was that fast, my clothes would rip.
You're not
Like I
a fucking
blew
vampire.
out the crotch of these pants running that fucking fast.
He doesn't seem like Flash Fast, which I think Flash Fast would be like the fucking shirt coming off of you because you're going so quick if you have a button open. He just seems to be like double the speed of a really fast adult.
They slow him down significantly because obviously I think it's kind of in 2008 it was going to be difficult to show how fast they're supposed to be, but basically they turn into blurs. They can move so quickly.
So in the book, they are the Flash speed.
Yeah,
Okay.
basically. They
Good to know.
are basically indestructible against anything except their own. Their own can kill them, but nothing else can. They can't drown. They can't be, they can jump from any distance and be fine. There's just nothing. They're supposed to be hard as diamonds and stuff like that. That's what the whole fucking skin thing is. But I have questions for that when we get there.
His dick's hard as diamonds.
I didn't even think about that.
Me neither.
Just fucking when he busts a nut, it's like a shotgun blast. It just blows Bella across the room. Take my seed, woman.
It's like getting like what's that fucking a shotgun but that sprays like it's like a pellet gun.
Yeah.
Just
It's like that
Like
salt.
Homer and his
It's
makeup
like that
gun.
salt gun for the flies.
Assault gun. That's it. So Bella and her friends go to La Push Beach, and Jacob arrives with his two friends, Embry and Quill. She persuades him to tell her the tribal story involving the Cullens. As Bella goes... Oh, okay, so they skip that whole part in this little synopsis. Basically, Jacob's tribe are supposed to be descendants from wolves, and they came across what they called the Cold Ones, which were these vampires that did not harm humans, but they hunted on their lands, but they make a treaty with them that they would not cross their lands, they would not hurt a human, and that they could coexist next to each other. And that's the Cullens because they continually come back to Forks because it's one of their favorite places. As Bella goes with Angela and Jessica to Port Angeles to shop for prom dresses, Bella goes off by herself to find a book on the Quillette legends. Soon after that, she runs into a dangerous gang about to make their move on her before Edward unexpectedly appears to stop them. Edward and Bella later have a deep conversation regarding his ability to hear people's thoughts and his inability to read her mind, confessing it is very frustrating. In the meantime, a close friend of Charlie's is found dead on his boat. So, a couple
So, sorry, before you
Okay.
get too far, I wanted to interject. I did admittedly really enjoy the I don't want to, it's not even a plot twist, but the plot point to the fact is that they just don't want to hunt people, so that's why they do what they do, and that's how they are different than others. Because when we get to the boss battle, it's like very much they're fighting their own, but their own as it's like being a fucking vegan. Good for you. I don't need to hear about it.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool to see like it's a different take on something that we've seen countless times, because we've seen vampire stories where the hot young boy with his diamond beef wants to just bang the shit out of the sweet young trim that showed up at school. But now there's like this little added layer of we don't eat humans, so you're cool, like you can be friends with us and we won't murderize you. But then there are these other ones that want to fucking eat the shit out of your tasty dead-faced neck. So like it was neat in that standpoint, because it was a little different than everything I've ever seen before.
In the book, can they glamour?
No, they do not glamour.
So that's like,
But
Glamour as in like in the smolder, and then
yeah.
so he's talking
Okay.
about like in like True Blood, which is something I want to kind of get into,
Okay.
and we can get into it now, which is totally fine. So in each, vampire lore, there's always something different. So if you even go back to like Bram Stoker,
glamours.
he can glamour. Garlic, sunlight, crosses all affect him. Twilight, they can go out in sunlight. They just have, their skin
Sparkles.
simmers in the sun. Shimmer shams.
which was a neat also a neat take on it, because it's like they don't just burn up, but they're very much, they stand out.
Yeah.
And people would understand that they're different.
Yeah. So in like True Blood, they can glamour, and they also, when they like cry, they bleed, or if they get, weak, or they're not going to sleep, because those vampires sleep. Vampire lore is like one of the most, you can kind of change it up a lot. I like the different things that each vampire can be. Like, in the Twilight verse, garlic doesn't bother them, sunlight doesn't bother them. They just have like super crazy strength. They're immortal. They don't have to sleep, blah, 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 blah. It's just different. But my question to you guys is, we haven't gotten to that point yet in the plot, but everybody knows that, the Twilight vampires sparkle. Everybody hates that, whatever. In the book, they really don't say sparkle. They just say that, it looks like, his skin is like a diamond in sunshine. Like, it's just like shimmering. What would, like, if you had an alternative to what happens to them when they go in the fucking sun, what would you choose? Like, what else could there possibly be that isn't going to physically harm them?
You glow.
I mean, that's what he kind of is
I
doing.
would say, yeah, sparkling is glowing.
Hmm.
I'd want to smell like pepperoni pizza.
That is an interesting take. So I'm just going to go back to the plot. I would love to smell like a meat lovers at all times.
I had meat lovers pizza for breakfast.
No, that doesn't shock me. So
I had the leftovers from last night. Don't patronize me.
I had Chinese.
not.
I heard Nana bought a fucking dump truck full of Chinese
Eh,
and didn't send me any.
It's like
Nana, I'm
100
looking at you.
It's like $125, man.
Yeah, they party hard.
They
I
bought
swear to
all the
God,
chicken.
my grandfather came here just so he could get Chinese food from the place down the street.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
So another thing I wanted to touch on that really bothered me, and I don't like to shame anybody about their appearance ever, even though I've mocked people relentlessly on this show. I genuinely don't care how people look. I look probably like a fucking slob half the time. Daniel can attest that I literally ran into the house the other night when there was a sunset outside because my gorgeous ass neighbor came out. Like, she looks like she rolls out of a bed glamorous. Like, I saw her today and I was just like, fuck you, man. Like, you look so put together. My hair hasn't been washed in 3 days. I just like tossed on jeans and a t-shirt. And she's outside.
We should probably talk about your hygiene if you haven't washed your hair in 3 days, you dirty bastard.
I've washed my body and my face, but I can't wash my hair every day. It'll literally turn into straw. there was like a gorgeous sunset outside, so we showed the kids, and I'm like in fucking actual.
You just
like,
walked outside and it's actually topless. I didn't think that would fucking enact that reaction, but proud of that one.
Oh shit! I wasn't expecting that. I'm so good.
You either need to cut all of this or leave it all in and just hope that she is not a listener.
I don't think she's
Leave
a
it.
listener. I'm gonna leave it.
I don't think she is either, but you never really know.
I'll just bleep out her name. I'll just do beep.
That works. Thank you.
So I was literally wearing just like actually a Drown the Lifeguard t-shirt. I had like no bra on. I was wearing fucking flannel pajama pants, and I was like, "Oh, look at the sunset!" And I like look over, and she's outside, like facing away from me, and she looks, to the tent. And I was like, "Daniel, I gotta go back inside." And I literally like, just fucking backwards matrix flipped in my house, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I can."
You know
see
where
it
that
from
doesn't
here."
happen?
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I don't even remember why. Okay, so back to people's appearances. In the movie, they go to this restaurant and this waitress flirts with Edward. This waitress has the most horrendous hair fucking do I've ever seen in my life. She has a titty tat that looks like a blob of blackness, and her hair is just like fucking big and black, and it's just, she's extreme, to my view, extremely unattractive. In the book, this girl is supposed to be fucking like blonde, stacked, and slamming. And I'm like,
Why'd they change that?
why? Where did you get that from that? But, whatever. So, Bella uses her book and finds a website about vampires when searching the cold one on Google. The website shows details about vampires, and the description she reads matches Edward's characteristics. Upon realizing what he is, she confronts him the next day in a clearing in the woods nearby instead of being scared of the truth. She just bravely accepts him for what he is, a vampire. This is where we turn to the actual book, my friends. So, in all of these pages, Edward and Bella go to a meadow when he reveals himself for the first time. It's their meadow. It's like fucking like lilacs and lavender and shit. And he steps out into the middle of it because it's just like kind of this open place. Like it's like 5 miles away from any trail, and it takes a long ass time to get there. I think he actually runs with her on his back, and she gets kind of fucking nauseated by it because she doesn't close her eyes.
She's like,
Pretty much. But in the book, they
knocks
have
her
like
out.
in the book they have this weird confrontation where they're in the woods, and it's very creepy and very awkward, where he's like, just say it out loud, and she's just like, "You're a vampire. How long have you been 17?" That line is in the book. How long have you been 17? And he just looks at her and smirks, and he says, "A while." So I'm going to read you actually a couple pages of this book, and you look thrilled. Okay, so this is Bella talking to Edward. They're driving in the car after Port Angeles, I believe. "I don't know how to start," I admitted. "Why don't you start at the beginning? You said you didn't come up with this on your own." "No," she said. "What got you started? A book? A movie?" he probed. "No, it was Saturday at the beach." I risked a glance up at his face. He looked puzzled. "I ran into an old family friend, Jacob Black," I continued. "His dad and Charlie have been friends since I was a baby." He still looked confused. "His dad is one of the Quillette elders." I watched him carefully. His confused expression froze in place. We went for a walk. I edited all my scheming out of the story, and he was telling me some old legends, trying to scare me. I think he told me one. I hesitated. Are you raising your hand to talk?
No, I was snoring into the microphone and then realized that my microphone probably cut it out.
Yeah, it did.
Damn it!
But it'll be in the audio, though, which is fucking hilarious to me.
Okay,
Go
good.
on.
Well, it's there.
No, I'm sure it is. "Go on," he said. "About vampires." I realized I was whispering. I couldn't look at his face now, but I saw his knuckles tighten on the wheel. "And you immediately thought of me?" Still calm. "No, he mentioned your family." It was silent, staring at the road. I was worried suddenly about protecting Jacob. "He just thought it was a silly superstition," I said quickly. "He didn't expect me to think anything of it. It didn't seem like enough," I had to confess. "It was my fault I forced him to tell me." "Why did you force him?" "Lauren said something about you. She was trying to provoke me, and an older boy from the tribe said your family didn't come to the reservation. Only it sounded like he meant something different, so I got Jacob alone and I tricked it out of him." He startled me by laughing. I glared up at him. He was laughing, but his eyes were fierce, staring ahead. She talks about how she flirted with him. "And did that convince you?" His voice sounded barely interested, but his hands were clamped hard onto the steering wheel. No, nothing fit. Most of it was kind of silly, and then I stopped. What? I decided it didn't matter, I whispered. It didn't matter? His tone made me look up. I had finally broken through his carefully composed mask. His face was incredulous, with just a hint of anger I'd fear. No, I said softly, it doesn't matter to me what you are. A hard mocking edge entered his voice. You don't care if I'm a monster, if I'm not human. No. And then they go on about like the myths and shit. Like, don't laugh, but how come you can come out during the daytime? It's a myth. Burned by the sun? Myth. Sleeping in coffins? Myth. I can't sleep. And then it just keeps going and going and going. And he says, don't you want to know if I drink blood? Well, Jacob said something about that. What did Jacob say? He said you didn't hunt people. He said your family was supposed to be dangerous because you only hunted animals. That's the conversation. One of which that does not happen in the fucking movie at all. They go into the woods. They have this weird conversation. And I literally always remember something my cousin Jackie said. Shout out to Jackie. She's like, if I was in high school and I saw those two She's like, if I was in high school and I saw those two walking away into the forest, I'm like, they're definitely going in there to fuck. I'm like, well, yeah, obviously. Like, what are they doing? It's so weird. It makes no sense. So, Edward and Bella, now going back to the movie, that's the last time I'm really going to touch on the book, except like maybe one or two other times. Edward and Bella fall in love and openly share their relationship. Eventually, he introduces her to his vampire family, Carlisle, Esme, Alice, Jasper, Emmett, and Rosalie. Soon, the pair realizes their love for each other is so strong, and he hopes to never lose control when he is around her. Later on, Bella is offered a chance a human rarely or ever gets to assist a baseball game between vampires. The game goes apparently well until Alice sees a vision of 3 nomadic vampires that had been involved in the killings in Forks lately approaching. Edward and Bella prepare to leave, but it's too late. James, a tracker vampire, is intrigued by Edward's protectiveness over a human and wants to hunt Bella for sport. Carlisle tells James, Laurent, and Victoria to leave after James's outburst. However, James wants to kill Bella and plots a plan to get rid of the Cullens and eat her. Knowing about the plan and the Cullens split up Edward and Bella to save her life. Edward, Emmett, and Rosalie find out James has figured out the truth and has escaped. Esme and Rosalie stay behind to protect Charlie while Edward, Emmett, and Carlisle go to Phoenix where Bella is hiding in a hotel with Jasper and Alice. James calls and lies to Bella that he has caught her mother and will kill her if Bella doesn't come to her old ballet studio alone. Alice, who can see the future, gets to know something terrible will happen in a dark ballet studio. When Jasper and Alice are in the hotel lobby, Bella ditches them and takes a taxi and goes to the studio, where she gets bitten by James on the wrist while he is fighting Edward. James is ripped apart and burned to ashes by Emmett, Jasper, and Alice. Edward sucks the venom out of Bella's system, which stops her transformation into a vampire. She awakens in a hospital and recovers with her mother by her side. Edward tells her to move to Jacksonville so she would be safe from him, but she persuades him otherwise. In the end, Edward and Bella attend their high school prom, and she asks him to turn her into a vampire to be with him forever, but he kisses her instead. Bella decides to enjoy the evening, but is determined to someday become a vampire to be with him. The film ends with James's lover, Victoria, secretly watching the pair dancing and swears revenge. So, a couple things. I have notes here.
Yeah, that was somehow more boring than the movie.
No. So, in the book, you find out something about Alice that they completely glean over, which I think kind of sucks because you find out pretty much what happens to everybody and why they become a vampire. Alice was the only one not turned, or Alice and Jasper are the only ones that were not turned by Carlisle. Emmett, Edward, Esme, Rosalie, all Carlisle. Alice has no memory of being human, but James knew her when she was human. So she was in an insane asylum, and another vampire was obsessed with Alice and changed her before James could get to her. So there's this whole backstory where she begins to learn who she is. Jasper was like a Civil War soldier, and he gets changed by someone completely different who helped him, or who he helped train like newborn vampires. So that was one thing that they gleaned over that I was just like, well, that sucks. They also kind of don't show how close Alice and Bella become. They become best friends. And the one thing that I always found funny is Bella gets fucked up by James. She doesn't just break her leg and get a bite on the wrist. In the book, she has a broken leg, 4 broken ribs, a cracked skull, bruises, and extensive blood loss. Jesus. And yet, in the book, this bitch still makes it to prom.
Yeah, she's been in a whole body cast.
But no, by the time prom rolls around, she's fine. So I guess it's months later because this all occurs in March. So I guess, April, May, June.
I think it would have been better if he's just carrying around a
I'm
body
pretty sure a
cast.
cracked
Time is a
skull.
construct. None of this matters.
True.
How does she hide the bite mark?
She has a scar. She has a crescent moon scar, right, like on her wrist. That actually, in the sunlight, will
Wouldn't
shimmer.
her father be like, "Yo, what happened there?"
Well, no, I mean, he knows that she got severely injured when she was traveling to Jacksonville or Phoenix or whatever she was going at the time. I think that's pretty much it. They never went on a field trip. Bella cooks every night for Charlie. They don't go to a restaurant. The Cullens literally throw out a plate of food every single day at lunch, and nobody finds that weird. That's the one thing that I always just like, why did nobody ever question that? Like when Edward eventually has dinner at Bella's house, he never eats. That's fucking weird. I'd be like, what the hell's wrong with your boyfriend?
I'd be like really offended. I'd be like, this motherfucker's never coming back over. Bitch didn't even eat one
yeah, he's
piece
gonna
of
be
my
like,
food.
my fucking daughter just made a whole fucking meal and he's not gonna eat. One thing that I wish that they kept in was Billy, Jacob's dad, actually tries to corner Charlie and tell him that like she needs to stay away from the Cullens, like they're
In
bad
the
for her.
wheelchair?
Yeah,
How does
because
he corner him? Was he in the same room as him?
no, he tries to get Charlie alone to warn him and kind of like talk Charlie's ear off to get him to persuade Bella to not be with Edward because he knows what they are.
Okay.
So like there's like a big argument that not an argument, but like a stern conversation that Bella and Billy have where she's basically like, mind your fucking business. This has nothing to do with you. I know exactly who they are, because he thinks that she doesn't know he's a vampire. He thinks that they're preying on her to eventually turn her into a vampire or just eat her.
Was the grandfather like an injured werewolf in the
Billy?
in the book?
Billy
Yeah,
was
'cause
never a
that's-
vampire, or Billy was never a werewolf.
Okay.
He has the gene, but because of his injuries, I don't think it's possible for
I
him
didn't
and
know-
his age.
I didn't know when he got the injuries.
I don't
to me,
actually-
it'd be a better story if like he was a werewolf and he lost it because of an injury.
I don't think they touch on that. I could just be forgetting because it is a lot of detail. But yeah, we covered all of that with my notes. One thing that's pretty interesting about, just to kind of show the difference between guys and girls, and this is a spoiler if you've never read Life and Death, which is the reimagination of Twilight. At the end of that book, because it's pretty much literally shot for shot the same exact book, maybe a couple different conversations that are more like leaning towards like the physicality, like how are we going to be able to do this type deal. At the end of it, they fucking just turn Beau into a vampire. They're just like, yeah, we're not going to play this whole you're a human thing. He just turns into a fucking vampire, and they do his funeral and everything. His family's completely destroyed and he lives happily ever after with Edith. I'm like, what the fuck? That's pretty horrible. But that is Twilight, guys. We did it. We did Twilight, but we still have Questions of the Damned.
Forgot to talk
And 4 more of these fucking turds to get through.
Yeah.
We forgot to talk about my favorite part of the movie.
What's your favorite part of the movie?
When that bitch
We
is
didn't forget to talk about shit. Stop.
when that chick is running as fast as possible and she's
Oh.
running on top of dirt mounds.
Oh, yes.
Like I didn't catch that. That's a fucking shoveled
Okay, first of all,
step.
I pointed that out to you. So basically, in the movie, there's a scene where Victoria is running up a path to kind of lead the cops in a different direction because they're wondering what's happening with all these attacks and blah, blah, blah. Even though Waylon is not a character in the book, Charlie's friend at all, it's just kind of like a weird additive character. When she's running, there's literal mounds of dirt that have footprints on there. Like, it looks like the production people were just like, just pour dirt here, just pour dirt here, just pour dirt there, and we're just going to have her put her foot right there. It makes no sense why there's these mounds of dirt.
Yeah. Like as if like it was like the ground was too hard that day to film and like she couldn't run.
Yeah, so they literally just put like a fucking... Remember in Naked Gun where he's like pouring dirt out of his pants and it's just like mounds of dirt? That's basically it. It makes no sense.
All right. Questions of the day.
Questions of the Damned. All right, Matt, you're going to get the first question.
No, thank you.
Over the course of how many days was this film shot? 27.
I said no, thank you.
And you don't have a choice. 27, 35, 48, or 62 days.
Physical challenge.
I knew you were going to fucking say physical challenge.
Can you repeat them, actually?
27, 35, 48, or 62 days.
48. Jesus Christ.
All right. Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
How many takes did Robert Pattinson need to get the apple kick into his hand correctly? Do you remember that scene in the lunchroom where the apple falls, he kicks it and puts it in his hands to make it look like the cover of the book?
Yeah.
Okay. None. It was CGI. 5 takes, 13 takes, 156 takes.
156. It's probably CGI or something.
Can you say the numbers again?
None. It was CGI. 5, 13, 156.
13.
Damn.
Jesus Christ, Dan. Give me some fucking competition.
156 takes, I believe, was actually how many takes it took Tobey Maguire to do the scene in Spider-Man when he did, because that's not CGI.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I think it was 156.
Oh, Jesus. That's awesome.
Yeah, because that's not CGI. He really fucking did that. All right, Matt. What are you talking about? You just had the question.
All right.
You fucking get all incredulous with me?
Mhm.
He did come into this. He's just like, I've seen this movie so many fucking times. I'm going to get every question right. Matt's going to eat it.
Sucks to suck.
How many actors auditioned for the coveted role of Edward Cullen? None. Robert Pattinson was the first and only choice. 200, 1,000, or 5,000.
Wait. Say those numbers again. Edward Pattinson was the only one. 200
Edward
or
Pattinson.
1,000?
200,
Whatever.
1,000,
Shut up.
5,000.
Slow down.
200, 1,000, or 5,000. Or Robert Pattinson was the only choice and he accepted. So they didn't audition him.
Jesus Christ. I have a hard time believing that he would be the only one. 200 sounds possible. That fucking, what was it? 200, 100, 200, 5,000?
What is wrong with you? 200.
I'm drunk.
1,000, 5,000.
Or 5,000. Okay. 1,000. Damn it.
Robert Pattinson was the only choice. 200, 5,000.
200. He's the only choice.
Was it 5,000?
Is he really the fucking only
5,000 people were
Jiminy
auditioned for this fucking role.
I lost.
Daniel, there's many questions.
But also you've lost.
Who was Stephenie Meyer's, the author's, first choice in her mind to play Edward? Henry Cavill, Channing Tatum, Chad Michael Murray, or Zac Efron?
Henry Cavill.
When she wrote the book, that's who she thought of as Edward. But by
Superman?
But by the
He's a
time
handsome man.
he is, but by the time the role, the movie came about, he was too old. All right.
Still a good looking dude.
Oh, he's still a great looking dude. I don't like the suits he wears, but good looking dude.
What about in The Witcher?
I've never seen The Witcher. I want to.
He's pretty half naked in The Witcher.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Do you want to watch The Witcher tonight? Okay.
Sounds like you guys are making macaroni sounds.
Stop saying that. That was the worst thing ever. I hated it. I hated it so much because I fucking hate that sound. That sound what fucking macaroni makes. I hate it. Whose turn is it? Because now I'm all flustered.
It's mine.
Okay. What set piece did Kristen Stewart take with her after filming? Bella's entire wardrobe, the red truck, the bedroom set, or nothing at all because she didn't care?
Oh, that's tough.
The entire wardrobe,
She's cheating.
red truck, the bedroom set, or nothing at all because she couldn't give it 2 shits.
I'm leaning towards nothing.
Somebody was like, you can have this fucking red truck, man.
But the actor's like weird shit. I'm going with nothing at all. Fuck you.
All right, so what's my options?
Bella's entire wardrobe, the red truck, or the bedroom set.
All right, so bedroom set, you can buy that on your own self. And she didn't have that great of a bedroom set.
I'm just saying. I mean, all these things are free. So, I mean,
wardrobe, people like good clothes. But that truck, there's only so many of them. I'm going to go with the truck.
she still has it.
Yes!
She loves it. So now you guys are tied. I still have 2 questions left. All right, Dan.
Dumb.
There's a way.
What actress wasn't considered for the role of Bella Swan? Wasn't. Michelle Trachtenberg. She played Harriet the Spy. Jennifer Lawrence. Lily Collins, or Miley Cyrus?
All right, say them to me again.
Michelle Trachtenberg, Jennifer Lawrence, Lily
Who
Lily
the hell is
Collins.
Lily Collins.
I don't know a single thing that you would know that she was in, unfortunately. She's brown hair, looks like a fucking Bella. Miley Cyrus.
I mean, I'm kind of leaning towards I came in like a wrecking ball. But you never know with Hollywood. I'm going with Miley.
Miley Cyrus was not considered. Lily Collins, Jennifer Lawrence, and Michelle Trachtenberg were considered for the role of Bella Swan at one point or another. All right, Matthew, for a potential tie or a loss on your end, what is the name of the restaurant Bella and Edward go to dinner at? La Bella Italia, The Bloated Toad, Port Angeles Bar and Grill, or The Pines Tavern? La Bella Italia, The Bloated Toad, Port Angeles Bar and Grill, or The Pines Tavern?
For some reason, I want to remember seeing a sign that says bloated toad.
Is that your final answer?
It is.
Weird.
Hey, Dan, suck my dick. Suck my Twilight fucking dick.
It's tie.
Now it's a tie. Okay.
I don't care, tie or not. It's a win because this is the first time I've seen it. And suck on these American nuts.
It gets so
There could be a
hostile here.
tiebreaker.
There is a tiebreaker for bonus. Okay.
Oh, fuck. Shit. I thought we just ended
Idiot.
there. You got
Nope.
too cocky. You got too cocky.
You did. Okay. As per usual with bonus rules, we haven't done it in a while. Matt, you'll text me your response because this comes with no, multiple choice. You just have to fucking do it from memory. You guys ready? It's a tough one.
Who watched the movie best?
Each member of the Cullen family wears the family crest in some form, whether it's a necklace, a ring, or a arm bracelet. What animal is on the family crest? Don't say it yet until he texts me.
I don't fucking know. Just turn the TV off in case I was going to see it.
Yeah, just in case it popped up. Because
I just thought of that too. I'm like, we're watching it. Why don't I fucking open my eyes?
I'm gonna win. All right, guys. I'm gonna need an answer soon. What animal is on the Cullen family crest?
Is it a lion?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
This whole thing is a tie. Because
Holy shit.
He texted lion. You guys, you little twihards. You're twihards.
Did we get it though?
You both get a point.
No. Did we get?
You both got it right. It's a lion.
It is a lion.
It's a fucking lion.
Oh my god! I did it! I guessed. I totally guessed.
Oh, sweet.
It makes sense though because they're
it's like the
fucking
most
vampires and they're
common
predators. Yeah.
Or there is the very infamous line in the movie. So the lion fell in love with the lamb. What a stupid lion, or a stupid lamb. What a masochistic lion. Guys, I'm so proud of you. We fucking did it. We did the first episode. It's super long. It's going to be so fun.
4 hours later.
I know. 1,000 years later.
Bitch is still a virgin.
Could you imagine? All right, now that I'm actually sweating a little bit. I hope I put on perspirant today.
So it's tie?
It's a tie, so you both each get a point. Now that we are at the end of Questions of the Damned, we are going to head right into Yay, Nay, or Slay. So for me, I'm going to go with Yay. It's pure nostalgia for me. It brings me back to high school, Erica having fun with her fucking friends, giggling over these books and these movies, and even revisiting them. It's still fun. The soundtrack slaps. I don't care what anybody says. Supermassive black hole. It's a yay. Matt?
Fucking nay.
Shocking.
Do I really need to elaborate on that?
No. You're not in the demo, man. You're not in the demo for this.
My turn?
Yes.
I think this is a yin because, it's on in our household, and I
don't say all the time.
Not all the time, but I do not turn the movie on. But like you said, a little bit of nostalgia, and brings you back to making you feel all good since high school.
I didn't even feel that good in high school. I don't know why I want to go back there.
I just leave it on because I'm like, oh, she likes this movie, and the soundtrack is good. Like, I will give it that. Like, and I think some of the camera, they do some good stuff with the cinematic portion of this film.
Yeah.
I just think the writers really fucked that shit up.
I don't know if it's so much writing. Like, I'm not trying to argue.
I think it could be the way that she writes the books too, because like what you read, it's just like people don't fucking think like that. Like,
I mean, they do.
That I don't. Like, I don't. I think I'm more like I just the way that she maybe that the way that she thinks people do. I don't know, but the way that you were reading that to me, like, is the whole book like that?
Okay, hold on. Okay, we both had relationships in high school. I'm assuming Matt had relationships in high school. Do you not remember the electricity and the intensity of the beginning of a new relationship?
Imagine your best boner now. That was just like a fucking Tuesday when we were in high school.
Yeah, like, why is Matt walking around with his books in front of him?
Yeah. I couldn't fucking get up to do a math
Twilight
problem.
Saga.
Yeah, I couldn't do a math problem without being fucking straight up midnight. Now, midnight happens every third full moon on a Tuesday when the breeze hits me right.
You went to a co-ed high school, Matt.
I did. It was a private co-ed high school, but yes.
So I went to an all-girls high school, so it wasn't really like if I dated someone and then we broke up, I did not have to see their face every single day. So, or like even if there was like a dude I had a crush on, like it was not like a reality for me that I had to like pass them. In grade school for sure, college, yeah. But high school, when this is like, the most prevalent, I didn't have that. But I remember the intensity, and this will definitely bleed into New Moon, not to have a fun blood pun, is the intensity of some high school relationships. And, I know you're downplaying it. You definitely had an intense high school relationship, despite the fact,
Oh, yeah, I definitely did. But
you have to kind of try to go
like
back.
What Matt said is like the fucking wind blew across your dick, and it was fucking hard.
Right, but looking back, it was like, dude, that was just a fling. But at the time, put yourself in the time.
Yeah, go back.
Right, and that's what I'm saying is the last thing I want to do is side with Erica because she is the bane of my existence. Dan, you are the sunshine that makes my mornings rise.
Oh, thanks, man.
That was fucking super poetic. I need to get this drunk more often. Cut that. I leave it in. Make it a fucking clip. I don't care. But I get where Erica is going, and it's like, just remember what that NRE was like, that new relationship energy.
Oh no,
Yeah.
for sure. Like you have the butterflies and all that stuff.
Yeah, but just to like amplify it too, because like imagine, and I know this is really corny, and I fucking know the words coming out of my mouth are the fucking cornballs.
I bet every chick in your high school is like, I wish a guy would come up to me and talk to me like that. Because I bet you like the part of it where he's like, like he can't resist her anymore. Like some chick is probably like, oh, I want that.
Well, in the movie, that kiss was intense to see as like a 17-year-old. You're just like, but
He's like the protector and everything.
in the book, they literally kiss maybe twice, and he runs away from her across a field because she like tries to like tangle in his hair and stuff like that, and it's just too much for him. And they kiss for the first time in the meadow, and she almost passes out. But the cornball thing I want to say is, imagine the intensity of a high school relationship, and it's brand new. But imagine it with something that is what you believe to be a fantasy. Like you think vampires are fake. You think like this crazy.
Oh, like she's getting like the forbidden fruit.
Yeah, like it's just this incredible thing that like you don't understand why this person is into you, and they're not only just into you, they're dedicating their entire existence to you. Just imagine the intensity, because like everything about Edward like described in the book is that he like everything about him, his smell, the way he talks, everything is just perfection. It's literally meant to entice you. So she's constantly kind of being glamored all the time without like.
He's had 108 years of experience.
But that doesn't mean that he's gonna lay pipe every 3 seconds. He's old fashioned, and that's like a big thing that comes up later.
I would think at that point, talking to anybody would be fucking ease.
No, it's not hard for him to talk to her. It's hard for him to be around her because he is drawn to her blood so intensely in a way that he's never been drawn before. Remember when you saw me? Remember when you saw me for the first time and you were just drawn to my essence?
I was like, I'm gonna bite the shit out of this motherfucker.
Why would you bite the shit out of
And then you didn't realize that she was insufferable and difficult to live with?
Yeah. My pickup line was like, "Oh, you like cameras?
I like
I
cameras.
like cameras too."
And I was holding fucking 4 cameras in my hand.
And I was like, "Yeah, I got this door open for you."
Is that legitimately what happened?
Okay.
Oh no, it did.
So-
I just got drunk and saw down a tree. You fucking had the cheesiest pickup line possible.
So, okay, guys, you're going to get this
She
really
loved it.
quick love story, and then we'll call it a night.
It's my uncle's. It starts off
Shut your
pie
fucking
hole.
I have
hole.
pieces of the tree I got drunk and saw down when I met my wife.
That's beautiful. So it was his uncle's wedding. He was a
Oh, where?
groomsman. You're sentimental. That's cute. He was a groomsman, and
Someone gave it to us. I didn't.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't want to keep cutting off your story, but don't fucking patronize me.
What are you gonna make out of it?
Nothing. It's
We're gonna
probably
shadow box.
It was his uncle's wedding. He was a groomsman. I was a second photographer. My cousin was hired because she knew the groom. She was her sister is best friends with the groom's sister.
Jackie?
And yeah, Jackie. This
Oh.
this was the first wedding I believe that she did, and she hired me as her assistant photographer. So
Best decision she's ever made.
well, thank you. I think I did a pretty okay job. Seeing
I
as
got
that's
you, boo.
my first time too. So I was carrying all these camera bags, and she wanted to go say hi to her sister who was actually at the wedding. So I was like, I'll hold your big, let's call it a low pro bag. And it's huge and bulky. It has a bunch of camera equipment. I had a camera strung across my neck. It was cocktail hour. All the fancy pictures were done. So we were just kind of like waiting for everything to start. And he saunters on over, and he's just like, "Oh, so do you like cameras?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like,
Holy shit, Dan.
I like cameras
I
too.
am shocked you have married this woman after that
It gets better.
just banger of an opener.
It gets better. And I was like, cool. And then Jackie came over, and I was just like, bye, like fucking weirdo. So throughout the night, he fucking was like Edward Cullen style glaring at me from a fucking across the room.
Please, we call it sauntering.
He did. That was exactly it.
If you go back and look at all their wedding pictures,
If there's other pictures that the pictures I took,
you can see that I'm staring at the camera the whole time.
Just fucking background,
Yeah.
Dan. Just
pretty much. There is one sweet picture of like everybody's looking at the bride and groom as they're clapping because they just came out of the church.
Dan's staring at you, isn't
And
he?
Dan's looking at me, but it's not creepy. I will give him that. It's actually not. It's very sweet, and he's like clapping his hands. But he kept here's the fucking worst part. He kept bumping into me when I was trying to take pictures. So like fucking, I was missing shots of like candid people dancing. I was like, this motherfucker. Then I got a break to go eat dinner, and in front of me, because I had my back to the doors, are huge mirrors in the eating area where the cocktail hour was. And me and Jackie are talking about him. I'm like, this fucking dude is like up my ass. She's like, oh, just have fun with it. She's like, whatever. Jackie always like encouraged me to just be like, just flirt. It's fun. I'm like, yeah, I guess. And fucking as I'm eating my fucking chicken or whatever, I see this motherfucker.
I just wanted to eat my chicken tetrazzini, and fucking this motherfucker.
He's staring at the back of my head and walking to go get a drink. There was another open bar other places. Pretty much. Just fucking. And I was like, oh my God, like he's fucking in here again. So throughout the night is about to end, and he's just like chit-chatting with me or whatever. And literally, we are packing up to go. It's 11 o'clock. The wedding ended a half hour before. And I just look at him, and I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, is he going to ask for the number or not? Like, I'm literally about to walk out the door. And I looked at him, and I was just like, if you want my number, now would be a good time to ask for it. And he was just like, oh, okay. And he was just like, what is it?
Holy shit.
I get a text about...
Oh, Dan, you beautiful bastard.
I get a text about 15 minutes later. It was really lovely to meet you. And I showed Jackie. I'm like, I got him. And then I went on a date with him like 2 weeks later. Oh, he ghosted me. He ghosted me for fucking 3 days, though.
Yeah.
He fucking ghosted me for 3 days.
Okay.
It might actually have been a week.
I am clearly not a relationship expert here. But it was good of him not to be too
She flirted
forward.
back too. She flirted back too. Don't you worry, Matt.
I don't. Erica is the fucking coldest person I've ever met in my entire life. There's no way she flirted with you.
Yeah, she took pictures of me.
I did take pictures.
She was fucking paid to
No,
take pictures.
no, like individual pictures.
Okay, Erica, did you take pictures of Dan the ice cream man on purpose?
Yeah.
Because you wanted that hot cone of his?
Well, I could just tell from the way his suit laid. I was like, there's muscles under here. And then further creeping of Facebook the next day, because me and Jackie hung out, I think like the next day or so.
I've been looking up this guy on Facebook. He's got a mean ass cock bulge. I'm gonna go out to get Italian food with him because I like meatballs.
We did have Italian our first date too.
Of course you did, you fucking fuck.
Hey, I picked the place, so
He did. What was that place called?
Tannerini's.
Terramina's.
Yeah,
No, I
Fucking Mario's Noodle Palace.
There.
Oh, I got Matt.
What?
Matt.
Is this all staying in,
Matt.
by the way?
It's staying.
Matt.
Stop yelling.
What?
Guess what I fucking ate? Guess, baby.
Probably a side of marinara.
No, baby. I ate raviolis.
Jesus Christ. This is how we get called douchebags on the reviews.
Anyway.
They're the best raviolis I've ever had.
I
in my
creeped
life.
him like 2 days after I met him on Facebook, and there was a picture of him like at the beach in like highlighter yellow.
I still have those swim trunks.
I know, swim trunks,
I
and
love them.
he had a full 6-pack and like pecs, and he was just jacked because he was rock climbing instructor.
And then you saw him in person, you're like, what the fuck happened? You were so hot and tasty in that picture, and now you look at goddamn grocery store.
No, that picture was like a month prior, and he still had every inch of that muscle. And I was like, I guess I'm gonna go out on a date with this guy. And then he basically like fucking stared at the ceiling every fucking chance he got at the.
Because he's the fucking weirdest dude. Dan,
Yeah.
I love you, but you're so uncomfortable at times.
And I said, I'm like, are you fucking bored while we're eating dinner? He's like, no, I got ADHD. I'm sorry. Was I not paying attention? He's like, I heard every word. And he repeated everything I said. And I was like, he's like, so I was just distracted by the ceiling. It looks like chocolate. And now we're married and have 2 kids.
Isn't
And
that fucked up how the world works?
It's fucking crazy. Wow.
Got him.
I decided to join eHarmony, and then I saw this cute redhead with blue eyes, and then I got drunk, saw down a tree, and it's been fucking 14 years.
It's crazy. And
Yeah.
and that's why it's believable that a fucking 17-year-old girl would run into a vampire and be like, fucking yeah, I'm gonna dedicate my life to you. And on that
Bro,
note,
your teeth are pretty bad, but you got a real sick ass dumper. Let's get married.
and you glitter. And on that note, that's gonna be the end of this episode because it's running for fucking far too long. The next one up is New Moon. So if you want to follow along on this journey with us, check that one out. It turns into a love triangle. I have a lot to say about that movie too. This was amazing. It was better than I could ever have hoped Twilight could be to be a review. Please, everybody in this podcast, save your fucking audio, because I'll be heartbroken. We love you guys just as much as Bella loves Edward and Edward loves Bella. Bye.
I never started recording.
I fucking would murder you. Like, actually would murder you. Say goodbye to your fans and your audience.
Bye.
See ya.
Say it out loud. Say it.
Vampire?
I have a date with Edward Cullen.
He's a little old for you, isn't he?
He's a junior, I'm a junior. I thought you liked the Cullens.
I thought you didn't like any of the boys in town.
Edward doesn't live in town, technically. He's right outside.
He is?
Yeah, he wanted to meet you. Officially.
All right. Bring him in.